Goodwin on the left. He is playing Burn. Ross Merriam mulliganing to 6 here with Dredge on the right. Scry was to the bottom. Goblin Guide going to start things off for Cody Goodwin. Going to check off a square. Goblin Guide reveals a land.
Yeah, it's just one of those corner adjacent squares.
Yeah, but it plays here.
Barely counts.
Faithless Looting for Ross Merriam. It's going to be part of the winning five. Just discarding Prized Amalgam and Life from the Loam does Ross Merriam.
Fine start. There's a Dredger in the graveyard and an Amalgam waiting for a Bloodghast or a Narcomoeba.
Do like on Cody's side, though. Goblin Guide, those fast burn starts are some of the better things he can be doing.
Turn 2 Eidolon could potentially be pretty impactful if Ross has to cast that Life from the Loam a couple times.
Lava Spike sends Ross to 15. Goblin Guide swings.
This is quite a bit worse than that.
Yeah, Ross down to 13, showing Shriekhorn. We'll see if Cody has a follow-up play here. Still has one more mana to spend.
And this is kind of an interesting decision for Ross if he wants to dredge over the Shriekhorn or just take the natural draw. Shriekhorn's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it certainly is a great turn 1 play. The question for me would be if it's still strong enough here.
Well, he gets to dredge 3, and at least one of those cards is not a land if he picks up Life from the Loam. If he just draws and casts Shriekhorn, he gets 2 activations before he has to draw. So he actually goes over 4 cards.
I suppose Shriekhorn is the way, if he can mill over the Creeping Chill, then he's just drawing cards in this matchup.
He would like to find Bloodghast or Narcomoeba, but it's only 2 looks if you dredge the Life from the Loam. That's not a guarantee.
Let's see. Grim Lavamancer was the follow-up by Cody Goodwin. And you are right. Ross wants the Shriekhorn, so he will draw it.
Ooh. Well, this makes it easy. He also has Faithless Looting.
Cast Faithless Looting.
Ooh.
First draw. His second draw will be an actual draw as he dredged the first one.
Well, just the way that lined up, that Amalgam being the 3rd card down, finding Narcomoeba, he's going to get all that back.
Yeah. So trigger Narcomoeba into play. 2 delayed triggers on Amalgams. He discards a Conflagrate. Plays a land, and he'll make that Shriekhorn he had kept. And some 3/3s will be on the way. Maybe some more as he'll mill himself for 2. Finds Stinkweed Imp. And passes. A great turn for Ross.
Yeah, altogether pretty solid. No chills just yet, though. Don't expect him to take lethal damage on this turn.
No.
From 13, he's relatively safe.
Cody would love to. This is a great opportunity if he has Searing Blaze in hand for him to use it.
Yeah, he could break through that. Narcomoeba as the 1 blocker.
It's kind of his last go at having ground creatures connect.
Yeah, the Lavamancer at least will be able to continue to deal some damage with its activated ability, but it's pretty slow going.
Cody Grim Lavamancer is going to shoot away the blocker. And Goblin Guy just swings in for 2. Another Prized Amalgam on top for Ross. That one's going to likely get Shriekhorned. Or I guess straight dredged away.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Probably both of those will happen.
And Eidolon of the Great Revel here for Cody.
Well, now that Ross has cast 3 spells and is just kind of trying to dredge from here, 2 dredgers in the graveyard, that's much less impactful.
Dredge 5, and there is our first Creeping Chill, and that's such a powerful card here. Both players now at 14.
And Narcomoeba for that Prized Amalgam. Huge
this
dredge.
Chill is just... boy, has it turned around this... Not turned around the matchup, but... Also really put an exclamation point on it.
His Amalgams just get to attack if Ross decides the coast is clear enough for that. Ooh, another Narcomoeba. That makes his attack pretty easy. They're bigger than the Eidolon, and Cody really can't afford to pay 2 life for his spells with Ross having this much of a battlefield presence.
And Ross, debating right now, he has a Cathartic Reunion in hand. He'd take 2 damage to cast it, and I think he has to decide if that's worth it. A big show of strength if he goes for it.
He's at 14. It's tough to deal 12 in 1 turn.
Yeah. If you're dredging enough, odds are you find a Creeping Chill.
If it hits a chill, you're already just +1 life.
Yeah. Swing of the pair of 3/3s. Cody either goes to 8 or will chump here. I mean, cards in hand, we're getting close to Ross being able to lethally conflagrate.
And with the last turn playing out, Cody just using Grim Lavamancer to take care of a Necromoeba and push through 2 damage. Doesn't feel like the hand's very strong, and it's only 2 cards.
Yeah, so Cody decides to take the full hit. He'll go to 8. And now Ross is fine with Cathartic Reunion. Discards Stinkweed Imp and a land, and we'll start some dredging. First draw is a Dredge 5. And finds another Stinkweed Imp, so he'll dredge 4. 5 more. There's a Golgari Thug in there. That can be the 3rd draw if he wants the most cards. He hasn't really found any business outside of additional dredgers.
Yeah.
2 cards. We'll go 3 and 4. So a Bloodghast was added. That's about it.
Yeah. He did also eat a life from the loam, so he'll be able to dredge on his next draw step. Not the most impressive stretch of 13 cards there, though.
Yeah.
To be fair, part of that is because he's already hit a bunch of amalgams and Narcomoebas.
Right. He has Stinkweed Imp and Shriekhorn for next turn. Now he just has to make sure he survives to next turn.
Currently doesn't feel like Ross is in any danger of losing this game.
No. Stomping Ground gets back. Bloodghast. And that should do it. Bringing the 3rd amalgam back for his trouble. Ross setting up to try to have lethal next turn. Can Cody counter?
3 cards in hand, and one of them was a mountain. It's going to be really tough to do 12. So in his next turn, he's going to have to make some blocks. And things get really out of hand if Ross dredges over another Creeping Chill.
Which it feels like he should be able to do. I mean, if not a Creeping Chill, maybe a Faithless Looting the flashback and then getting a Creeping Chill.
Well, he also just already has access to Conflagrate.
Yeah. Here's a swing from Cody. Top card on Ross's side is Bloodghast. Yeah.
So that'll be attacking with haste. He does have that life from the loam to dredge over that.
Ross deciding his blocks here. He's got so much attacking power next turn. I can't see him not being able to close it as long as he can survive through this turn.
Right. So just block 1 or 2 things. You could double block the Eidolon if you thought that mattered, but he's just going to block 2 creatures, and Goodwin's seen enough.
Yeah, Cody sees that last attack was kind of a...
Well, because he attacked, that means that the amalgam is just going to crack back for lethal.
Yeah, it was a last-ditch shot. Ross makes a block, and we go to game number 2. Dredge taking game 1 here in a commanding way. That's a good draw. Cody on the play here. Turn 1 Goblin Guide. Not able to make too many inroads.
Yeah, elements were good. Elements were bad. The turn 2 play was just Lava Spike and Grim Lavamancer. That's a little bit mopey. But yeah, starting on Goblin Guide and losing despite having a good amount of burn spells doesn't feel great.
Well, in this fair fight, it feels like Cody's going to need some help in the matchup. He has brought some Graveyard Hate and some other options to the matchup.
Yeah, so for Cody's sideboard, we have 3 Destructive Revelry, 3 Path to Exile, 3 Searing Blood, 3 Rest in Peace, 2 Exquisite Firecraft, and a Grim Lavamancer. Got to figure those Rest in Peace are for this matchup. That seems reasonably powerful here. Don't mind Searing Blood. Clears blockers. If you use that on Narcomoeba instead of something like, Grim Lavamancer activation that we saw, that is pretty good.
Yeah, so don't mind the Searing Blood. So you want the full set of Blazes and Bloods here to try to get some extra value?
Yeah, Ross is going to be producing bodies, so hitting them and dealing damage is just better than casting regular burn spells.
On Ross's side, he has Leyline of the Void, Lightning Axe, Thoughtseize, Nature's Claim, Assassin's Trophy, Ancient Grudge, and Ghost Quarter. He hasn't really brought much for this.
No, but the Lightning Axes are good. Most of the games that Goodwin wins involves creatures connecting for damage, so that removal spell's nice, and it's a discard outlet. Assassin's Trophy is a little bit slow, but in general, I think you try to bias towards having that card, and you might actually just reach for Nature's Claim in this matchup, just because it deals with Eidolon if it's problematic.
So the card I was looking for on Ross's board that I didn't find is, in the past we've seen Dredge players bring Collective Brutality to the table for a matchup like this, but it has been the case, not just Ross. Most of our Dredge players have left that one out of the list entirely.
Right, yeah, it's kind of the case that Creeping Chill made this matchup so much better, where that life drain effect is less important for what your deck is doing. Brutality also only has a marginal value against the decks like Jeskai Control, so they're just able to eschew it now.
Ross Merriam's been a strong advocate of Dredge here for the last 2 weeks, and for good reason. The deck looks fantastic. 29-year-old here, 22 open top 8s with 4 wins, was 1 win away from going back-to-back back when we had our 2-day opens. Playing today on short sleep, from the Connecticut area. He's was up until about 5. It was quite the World Series game yesterday.
They played an 18-inning game of baseball.
It was 2 full
It
games.
was 2 games of baseball.
And his team lost. And on top of that, after the open today, he's going back to watch the next game. That's his plan, is right after round 9.
What are you going to do, man? You gotta support your team.
Yeah. The game ended up 7.5 hours.
Yikes.
So 7.5 hours of watching baseball, and you have to sleep, and you have to play this open, and that adds up to greater than 24.
I would get exhausted watching a game that long. I would not want to play in 18.
No,
No.
that'd be a lot. Like an 18-round Magic tournament.
Ugh.
Yeah, that's.
I don't even really. 9 rounds feels like a lot to me now.
Yeah.
I'm playing Grand Prix Milwaukee next month.
Do you have bias?
I don't.
Oh, wow.
I
You're in so much
I don't
trouble.
play Magic. I talk about Magic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. I did the team Grand Prix in Denver because you can't have buys in team events. Oh, man.
Well, if you rewind a little bit, too, and they changed the buy system from ELO to Planeswalker points,
Okay.
it was kind of exactly at the time of my life where I was like, I'm just going to skip the local Grand Prix. So Planeswalker points have been very bad for my ability to get buys.
Look like 7s on both sides here. Cody on the play for our second game. It feels bad when to fix a burn matchup you have to board in a card like Rest in Peace. Any spell that you sideboard in that does not deal damage.
This is at least a matchup where it's so powerful. If he has a turn 2 on the play, it should just be a game win. But you're right. Burn in general hates doing that. You just want all your cards to deal damage.
Especially on Cody's side, he's going to put the hand back looking for something better.
This is something you get to do. Burn is very bad at mulliganing generally. It's one of the worst decks at operating in fewer cards. But having just a Haymaker, which is something you don't normally get as the burn deck, is pretty valuable.
If you haven't had a chance to head over to our weekly sale, we have promotional cards up to 50% off. That's been going on this week, and it's wrapping up this weekend. So make sure to check out some of the deals over on our store as the sale ends Monday morning. But the good news is the new sale starts. StarCityGames.com/weekly sale.
I like that they featured the Grand Prix Progenitus on that ad.
You can get those.
You can.
Yeah.
That was
Ross loves Progenitus. I don't know if you knew that about Ross.
He loves
Merriam.
to play elves and have Progenitus in his hand.
Big fan of the card. Just ask him. Next time you see him, ask him to sign a Progenitus. He's very happy to accommodate fans, specifically with that card.
Crater Hoof Behemoth was such a huge upgrade to that deck. You just got stuck with Progenitus in your deck/hand way less often.
Faithless Looting for Ross. Takes 1 off Monastery Swift Spear to start.
So check to see how good Ross's looting is, and if Cody does have that turn 2 rest in peace.
Looting not bad. Prized Amalgam and Golgari Thug, but check that rest in peace. Cody's moving pretty quick. I would think we might see one.
I'd be happy with an Eidolon. I'd be elated with the rest in peace.
Yeah, it has an Inspiring Vantage on turn 1, so that's set up to go. And it's tough for Dredge to win through this out of burn, a deck that can be so proactive while casting it. And that is the card. He passes the test on it.
Prowess trigger.
And a swing in for 2. Ross to 17. And now we'll see what he can do about this one, if anything.
You might have access to some number of Nature's Claims and Assassin's Trophies.
Yeah.
He'll need to do something about this.
See, if there wasn't a rest in peace, Ross was at the ready with Cathartic Reunion. Could have been a pretty gross turn. Casting Faithless Looting right now does Ross. Picks up 2 more Stinkweed Imps. Looks like there's some creeping chills here, but they're not going to be very good. So he'll discard a chill and a loam. Those hit exile. And Dackmore Salvage and a pass. A much fairer turn here from Ross. Another question is if Cody has any follow-up pressure.
Yeah, it's really slow going to just attack 17 times with Monastery's Swift Spear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's down a card for being on the play, down a card for mulliganing, and down a card for casting Rest in Peace. So it may be a slow-going win for the burn deck.
Right. Merriam, let's see, we talked a bit this weekend about access to blue mana as far as casting Prized Amalgams. He has 2 Gemstone Mines, a Mana Confluence, and that's it. If he's able to produce one of those and cast Prized Amalgams, he can start engaging pretty favorably with this Monastery Swift Spear, but if he can't do that, he might just close to a very small amount of spells.
It's a 10-point swing. Cody's going to empty the hand here, or nearly. He casts Lightning Bolt and Boros Charm, 7 points of damage, 2 prowess triggers, makes a total of 10. Ross goes from 17 down to 7.
Yeah, that might just be enough to do it.
Another Faithless Looting for Ross Merriam.
I think he's looking at discarding another Creeping Chill. Interestingly, this would be a game where casting that for 4 is kind of reasonable.
That is true, especially with the hand Cody has. Swing for its Swift Spear. Is it just for 1? It looks like it is. Ross to 6. Gonna take 2 burn spells to close. Looks like Cody's hand is land Skullcrack. He's saving the Skullcrack just in case Ross maybe does hardcast a Creeping Chill.
All right. So yeah, then the 4 mana Creeping Chill matters a lot less.
And it's just a Lava Spike. Well, Ross has a blocker. Here's Stinkweed Imp.
A little late. 6 life is not too much to play with.
Cody's drawing here. Now he just has to hang out until he finds Lethal Burn. Looks like he drew another Rest in Peace. It's worth casting, though, I think.
If you're taking down Skullcrack, I would disagree. Especially because you're attacking into a creature that has approximately Death Touch.
Rest in Peace. Trigger, swing, offers the trade. Ross, you feel like he has to... So if Ross goes to 4, he opens himself up to Boros Charm.
I think it's a pretty easy block.
So he will block. Yeah, so they both die.
So you saw some gesturing there. I would suspect that Cody was not aware of the Death Touch-esque ability. Makes the Rest in Peace play more justifiable, but I don't think that Ross is going to punish him for taking down Skullcrack. He doesn't seem to have access to the land and has just been discarding the Creeping Chills.
Cathartic Reunion from Ross. Finds Prized Amalgam. Bloodghast. Finds some things that kind of don't work. And all the answers out of the board are Assassin's Trophies and Nature's Claims. 2 Skullcracks will do it for Cody. So there's not a card like a Maelstrom Pulse. I don't think it's the way the Ross would really have to just remove both of them.
Right.
And Cody Goodwin evens things up. Putting 3 Rest in Peace and Sideboard to your burn deck is a big cost, but you do it because you need it for this matchup.
Right.
And he will even things up.
Yeah, so he's kind of used. Lately, we've seen players sideboard and snaring bridge with burn.
Okay.
And they seem to be occupying that space.
Yeah, especially with the way Dredge is playing out. My thought would be, I don't know that Ensnaring Bridge would save this matchup. I think Ross has the ability to creeping chill and conflagrate you out of the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not that difficult for them to close outside of combat, and the life gain from creeping chill affords them a good amount of time as well.
We did see some of that last weekend in our feature matches. Most of our burn players either with Ensnaring Bridges in the sideboard or even in some cases in the main deck.
We've seen some Graveyard combo rise up to face off against Dredge as well. Rest in peace. Burn is actually pretty good against Storm because of Eidolon of the Great Revel, and you have a pretty reasonable clock. Having that extra tool in that matchup is kind of whatever. It's reasonable to bring in. I guess a deck like Ironworks, they have Nature's Claims that they're probably bringing in anyway, so I don't know how much it helps you there. It's kind of a weird spot for Burn specifically to have this card.
Yeah.
But it sure worked there against Dredge.
Yeah, I mean, Dredge is perhaps the most popular deck this weekend, and this is a bad matchup for the Burn deck. So even if it's a single matchup, it does a thing.
Yeah. If anybody has got Goryo's Vengeances out there.
Yeah, I suppose you're wondering, are there other matchups where it would be good enough to bring it out of Burn, right?
Right.
I don't think I would do it against Storm. Well, maybe. It's already a good matchup for Burn.
Yeah. Maybe one of them.
Sure.
Also, Storm has that thing where you usually want to draw exactly one because they just echoing truth you.
Yeah, even out of any matchup. Storm, though, having a good day. Mentioned Caleb Shear at 7-0. Flying high, has been on table 1 for the last couple of rounds.
You know, I used to get to say Caleb plays the deck when it's good, he plays it when it's bad, but he literally played Dredge last weekend.
It went terribly.
Yeah. I guess he learned his lesson. Never deviate from the Storm plan.
It's been a while since Storm has been truly bad. I think it's been medium in the last year. I don't know if it's been bad.
It's had some dips. When Humans first showed up, saw some turn 2 concessions, Meddling Mage on Grapeshot in game 1.
Yeah, that breakout tournament of Humans, that was at a time where where Storm was the best deck, and then Humans showed up just as a foil.
Right.
And then the question was, is Humans good against anything that isn't Storm? And it turned out the answer was yes.
A resounding yes. Yeah, Storm now generally main decks at least some number of answers. A lot of the lists have had one answer to something like a Meddling Mage.
Well, game 3 will put Ross on the play. That hand he had kept last game with that turn 1 Faithless Looting, turn 2 Cathartic Reunion may have been strong enough if he was on the play. This time he'll take a mulligan.
Yeah, he would have been able to get that reunion off before the rest in peace.
Interestingly enough, both games we've had the person on the play mulligan to 6 and win despite it.
Modern's definitely a format that rewards mulliganing aggressively, even if there are decks. You look at this matchup here, Burn generally does not like mulliganing, Dredge is generally fine mulliganing. Regardless, in the format at large, though, you have to be doing your thing.
Right. Whether your thing is trying to win the game or finding that key hate piece for the matchup, you don't have a lot of time to spin your wheels.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. The way that most Modern decks operate is do something proactive, get going on turn 1, or really get going on turn 2, and you want to mulligan fairly aggressively to make sure you do that. And the decks that are a little bit on the outside of that, decks like Jeskai and Azorius Control, that aren't trying to do anything quickly, just keep hands that are lands and spells.
Yeah. Ross, satisfied on the 6-card hand, he will keep.
Tough call on the scry there. Almost put it on the bottom, but kept it on top.
And that's the dilemma. You're talking about the fetch land mulligan scry decision.
Right.
I'll keep it there. We have Lava Spike turn 1. Cody getting to work, putting Ross down to 17. And turns out we didn't like the card on top. After agonizing over it.
Well, now that I saw that Lava Spike.
The top card apparently was Stomping Ground.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know. This
I don't know.
show.
Now that I saw Lava Spike, I don't want this Stomping Ground. What?
Oh, he wanted to put a land he didn't want to draw on the bottom, but if he was attacked by a Goblin Guide, he wanted to draw the Stomping Ground.
So he didn't want to land. He put it on the bottom, and he thought, wait, I'm going to crack this fetch anyway. And if they play Goblin Guide, I'll take the card.
Yeah. There it is.
Nice. Copperline Gorge and Cathartic Reunion from Ross. Discarding 2 Stinkweed Imps. All right, here's a turn. 5. We have an Archamoeba and 2 prized amalgams. What is that? Rest in Peace card? Oh, and a Creeping Chill.
Just doing it.
So you cast Lava Spike. I will heal from the Lava Spike, drain you for 3, and then make 7 power worth of cards your turn.
These decks are definitely at very comparable power levels.
When I play Burn, sometimes I play games and they feel like this. And it's like, why did I register? What am I doing? Why did I think this would be good enough?
This is the kind of start from Dredge where if you're not on a combo deck, you're generally pretty upset about this.
I mean, Cody might have turn 2 Rest in Peace. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope you don't have to shock for it.
That definitely does. It goes to... Oh, yeah, he took 3. Now 3 more. Okay, yeah, he's down to 14 because, Creeping Chill. Here's Rest in Peace.
Cool, you're on a 2-turn clock.
Yep.
It looked real good in game 2, and I mean, just casting burn spells wasn't going to do it in this game 3 situation either.
You just hope that this stuff doesn't happen when you're on the draw. There's not really a great way around it.
Yeah. If he registered...
Anger of the Gods. Land Anger.
Yeah, instead of Rest in Peace, he had Ravenous Trap.
Okay.
That could have been something. That card's way more awkward.
Ross will attack for 7 and cast Golgari Thug. It is a 1/1. That is fine.
Yeah, there's no graveyards, whatever. Gotta start steering blazing these amalgams. It's really the only way Goodwin's getting out of this one. Inspiring Advantage. He has at least a Lightning Bolt, so he can stem the bleeding a little bit that way.
He can start chipping down these creatures. If he starts spending his burn spells on creatures, which, all right, that's where we are.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to.
Yeah, he absolutely does. Bolt on an amalgam. There's one. Does he have, is that a Path to Exile?
Okay, he did bring in the Path to Exiles, and that I feel, I mean, it's how he could potentially stay in this game, but I do feel like it is over sideboarding for the matchup.
Upkeep Path's an amalgam. I mean, at this point, you're ramping Ross up to Creeping Chills.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong. Also just has 2 power on the battlefield still, so...
Yeah.
From 19 life.
And Cody can make a blocker to stabilize here, but it's Eidolon of the Great Revel that's in his hand, and I don't know that he wants to cast that one.
Yeah, he's the player that needs to cast spells. The Archamoeba just comes across in the air. If he doesn't deal with that, then the Eidolon's just damaging him way more than it's damaging Ross.
Swings puts Cody down to 5. Now here's one. Lightning Helix will take care of Archamoeba. Cody goes back up to 8. That's a pretty good play.
Yeah, that helps.
And he'll cast Eidolon on this board. Ryan, that's a pretty... I think Ross is okay with that.
I mean, it's the card he drew. He's got one other card in hand, but you're right. It's a big problem.
No. Here's land 4. Land 4, hard cast, Creeping Chill, go. Looks like Ross will take 2 to make a Stinkweed Imp.
Yeah, seeing as the chill's not lethal,
okay,
he might even have to shock off this Bloodstained Mire if he wanted to cast it.
Sure.
And this flying attacker, it is valuable.
It's an 8-turn clock. Ross might even play another one next turn.
Casting Creeping Chill doesn't even trigger Eidolon.
Right. It's really gross. Cody just says go. Ross will crack a fetch land. He does not have Steam Vents. Can't make mana for, again, can't fetch up mana for Prized Amalgam.
Right. Does have another Blood Crypt, though, so now he can cast Blood Ghasts.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that here.
He did draw a Blood Ghast. I'd be a little inclined if he has chills to just start casting those, even if he just has one.
Stinkweed Imp swings Cody down to 7. And Ross will make another Stinkweed Imp down to 14.
Yeah, the flying attacker I also like quite a bit more than Blood Ghast.
Another land for Cody and passes. Yeah, the action is on Cody. Ross doesn't have to cast any more spells as he attacks Cody down to 5. And now we will cast a Creeping Chill. Cody down to 2. And Eidolon and play Cody at 2 means no, he can't cast any more spells.
And the imps are lethal.
And he'll draw, but that shouldn't do anything. Oh, Ross has another Creeping Chill in his hand.
Okay.
And that'll be the,
I mean, the game was over, but that's a nice kicker.
And Ross Merriam 2-1.